Home. Home is the second episode of the fourth season of the American sci-fi series The X-Files, which first aired on Fox on October 11, 1996. Directed by Kim Manners and penned by Glenn Morgan and James Wong, this episode is a standalone Monster of the Week tale that doesn't tie into the main storyline of the series. It attracted 18.85 million viewers during its premiere, earning a Nielsen rating of 11.9. Notably, Home was the only episode to receive a TVMA rating when it aired and was the first to come with a viewer discretion warning for graphic content, even before the TV parental guideline system was launched 2 months later on December 19, 1996. Critics generally had positive things to say, highlighting the unsettling nature of the story, with some drawing parallels to the works of director Tobe Hooper. However, a few reviewers thought the violence was a bit over the top. The show follows FBI agents Fox Mulder, David Duchovny, and Dana Scully, Gillian Anderson, as they tackle cases related to the paranormal, known as the X-Files. Mulder is all in on the supernatural, while Scully, who was originally brought on to debunk his theories, has grown to be his close friend. In this particular episode, they look into the tragic death of a baby born with serious physical issues. Their investigation takes them to the remote town of Home, Pennsylvania, where they encounter the Peacock family, a group of reclusive farmers with deformities who haven't stepped outside in 10 years. At first, Mulder thinks the brothers might have kidnapped and assaulted a woman to conceive the child, but as they dig deeper, they uncover a disturbing history of incest involving the Peacock's mother. Home sees the return of writers Morgan and Wong, who had left after the second season. They aimed to create an episode that was both bold and shocking, drawing inspiration from real-life stories like the documentary Brother's Keeper and a tale from Charlie Chaplin's autobiography about a family in rural Wales. The graphic nature of the script sparked controversy right from the start. Critics have pointed out that the episode touches on themes that critique the American dream, discuss globalization, and delve into motherhood. It's often regarded as a landmark episode of The X-Files by both critics and the show's team. In the little town of Home, Pennsylvania, a woman gives birth to a baby with deformities. During a storm, 3 men with similar deformities bury the baby near their rundown home. Fox Mulder and Dana Scully are called in to look into the case after kids stumble upon the body while playing ball. While chatting with local sheriff Andy Taylor, Mulder asks if the Peacock brothers, who live close to where the baby was found, have been questioned. Taylor mentions that their house is a Civil War relic, lacking electricity, running water, and heat, and hints that the family might have been inbreeding for generations. The Peacock brothers keep a watchful eye on the agents from their porch. During an autopsy, the agents find out that the baby suffocated from dirt, indicating it was buried alive. Scully thinks the deformities could be linked to inbreeding, but Mulder argues that it can't be true since the Peacocks only have men in their household. Believing the Peacocks might have kidnapped and assaulted a woman, the agents check out their abandoned home and find blood, scissors, and a shovel lying around. In a shocking turn, the Peacocks break into Sheriff Taylor's house at night and kill him and his wife, Barbara. Lab tests show that the baby's parents belong to the Peacock family. Thinking the 3 Peacock brothers have taken the dead baby's mom hostage, agents and Deputy Barney Pastor, Sebastian Spence, head over to make an arrest. When Pastor kicks in the front door, he gets decapitated by a booby trap, and the brothers tear his body apart. Mulder and Scully then let loose the Peacock's pigs to draw the brothers out before they search the house. Inside, they find a quadruple amputee hiding under a bed. It's Mrs. Peacock, the boy's mother. Everyone thought she died in a car crash years ago, but she survived and kept having inbred kids. She tells them that neither she nor her family can feel pain. The brothers catch on that Mulder and Scully are in their home and launch an attack. The 2 youngest sons take several gunshots before they go down, with one getting impaled on another booby trap. In the end, the agents learn that Mrs. Peacock and her oldest son have made a getaway in their car, looking to start fresh somewhere new. Home marked the comeback of writers Glenn Morgan and James Wong, who had stepped away from The X-Files after the second season to explore other TV projects. Before they left, they had penned several episodes and played a key role in the show's first season success. They also created Space, Above, and Beyond, a sci-fi series that only lasted one season. Afterward, they returned to The X-Files as writers for the fourth season. To make a splash with their return, they aimed to craft an ambitious story and pushed for a script that would really challenge the limits of television. Kristen Cloak, who co-starred in Space, Above and Beyond, suggested they dive into books about the dark aspects of nature to inspire their writing on themes like survivalism. Several actors from Space, Above and Beyond, made appearances in the fourth season, starting with Tucker Smallwood, who played Sheriff Andy Taylor in Home. When Morgan pitched the episode to Chris Carter, he highlighted 3 actors from the show, James Morrison, Rodney Rowland, and Morgan Weiser, as the trio of Big Freak Brothers. The episode also included nods to popular TV, like the names Andy Taylor and Barney, along with references to Mayberry, which are allusions to characters and the fictional town from the Andy Griffith Show. The writers looked into various sources, including the 1992 documentary film Brother's Keeper, which tells the story of the Wards, 4 brothers who were barely literate and lived on a family farm for generations. Their lives gained international attention after William Ward was allegedly murdered by his brother Delbert. Delbert, who had an estimated IQ of 68, avoided prosecution by claiming the police had tricked him during questioning. Wong decided to model the Peacock family after the Wards, weaving their way of life into the script. The name Peacock was inspired by Morgan's parents' former neighbors. Additionally, inspiration struck from a tale in Charlie Chaplin's autobiography. While on tour with a musical theater group, he stayed at a miners' tenement in Wales. After dinner, the host introduced Chaplin to a disfigured man named Gilbert, who had no legs and slept in a kitchen cupboard. Glenn Morgan mistakenly remembered this as a boy without limbs kept under a bed. Chaplin described Gilbert as a half-man with no legs, an oversized blonde flat-shaped head, a sickening white face, a sunken nose, and a large mouth, who could jump using his arms. Morgan misremembered this, picturing the man flopping around while the family sang and danced. Although Morgan included this memory in the screenplay, they changed the character to the boy's mother at Wong's suggestion. This scene also paid tribute to classic 1970s horror films like Tobe Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes. It took a bit for everything to mesh into a cohesive story. The first hints popped up in the second season episode, Humbug, which was penned by Morgan's brother Darren and featured a bunch of circus sideshow performers. This episode brought in several themes that later influenced Home, like the idea of a benign soul trapped in the body of a monster. When director Kim Manners got his hands on the Home script, he described it as classic a horror script as I'm ever going to see. However, the producers thought the show had crossed a line and labeled it tasteless. William B. Davis, who played the main villain, the Smoking Man, suggested that the screenplay felt like Morgan and Wong were intentionally trying to return to the series' original stylistic roots. Just like the rest of Season 4, Home was shot in British Columbia. Most of the scenes featuring buildings were filmed in Surrey, with the Langley Community Hall in Fort Langley standing in for the sheriff's station. The town's mix of old and new architecture required some clever camera angles to keep that small-town America vibe. The house used as the Peacock residence had actually appeared in Season 2's Aubrey. The producers mentioned that the place had been untouched for years and was so impressive they had to come back to film there again. The car driven by the Peacock family was discovered on a farm near Vancouver, rented and restored for the episode. Cadillac even sent a thank you letter to the producers for featuring one of their cars. After the episode aired, Tucker Smallwood shared that filming was quite a rough experience for him. He started the project with little understanding of what the X-Files was all about and was taken aback when he read the script. On his first day, he asked fellow cast members if the show was always this violent. One crew member replied, "This is awful even for us," suggesting it might be the most gruesome episode ever. During the sheriff's death scene, Smallwood wanted to do his own stunts but ended up hitting his head while trying a dive. Another tough moment for him was lying face down in a pool of fake blood for over 90 minutes. The episode features the track "Wonderful, Wonderful" by Johnny Mathis. After reading the script, Mathis decided against letting his version be used due to the episode's intense content, so they had to create a cover instead. Producer David Nutter, who used to sing, planned to record the vocals himself, but at the last moment, they brought in another singer who sounded more like Mathis. Manners mentioned that he wanted to include the song because it has a strange, unsettling vibe that hasn't been fully acknowledged by anyone. When Home was first sent to the censors, it included a sound of a baby crying while being buried alive. Fox executives requested that 1013 Productions change the audio to make the baby sound sick instead, emphasizing that the child was diseased and not just an innocent victim. Manners described the scene from the baby's viewpoint as the most awful shot of my career. He took the filming very seriously, believing the script was a classic. Once production wrapped up, Manners said it became one of his favorites. Duchovny echoed Manners' sentiments, stating, "I really liked that one, although it didn't scare me." He shared that it resonated with him because of its themes about the desire to live and to propagate. Home first hit the airwaves on Fox on October 11, 1996. It scored a Nielsen rating of 11.9 and a 21 share, which means about 11.9% of all households with TVs and 21% of those actually watching were tuned in. The episode attracted 18.85 million viewers. Notably, Home was the only episode of The X-Files to get a TV May rating when it aired, and was the first to have a viewer discretion warning for graphic content, especially due to its intense opening scene that echoed classic horror movie tropes. The only other episode to get a viewer discretion warning was Via Negativa from Season 8. Because of its graphic nature, the network only aired it again once, on Halloween 1999, 3 years later. This was a unique occurrence in the series' history. In 1997, when FX hosted a marathon of the top X-Files episodes, Home was the fan favorite. When it first aired, Home got a lot of praise from critics, though some took issue with its violent scenes. Some reviews weren't too kind to Home. Phil Ferran, in his book The Nitpicker's Guide to the X-Files, labeled it his least favorite episode from the first 4 seasons, saying he just did not get this episode because he thought Mulder and Scully acted recklessly and that the Peacock brothers seemed more like characters from comic books. In another book, Extreme Possibilities, authors Paul Cornell, Keith Topping, and Martin Day criticized the episode's violent scenes. Topping described it as sick, while Cornell thought Mulder and Scully's jokes made them seem harsh, and Day felt the violence was excessive. Still, Day did acknowledge some positives, mentioning that Home had its merits, and that the contrast of wonderful, wonderful with the Peacock's violent behavior was something David Lynch would be proud of. Home has kept getting great reviews over the years. In a 2011 write-up, Emily St. James from the AV Club gave it an A and mentioned how tough it would be to create an episode like Home today, since small towns aren't as cut off as they used to be because of modern tech. She highlighted the mix of city vibes and the creepy Peacock family, noting it was a sad farewell to a weird America that was quickly becoming more ordinary. Dean A. Kowalski, in his book The Philosophy of the X-Files, pointed out Home, along with Squeeze and The Host, as the standout Monster of the Week episodes. Home is frequently hailed as one of the standout episodes of The X-Files. Rolling Stone even placed it third on their list of Every episode ranked from worst to best, praising it as one of the series' finest, highlighting its relentless dive into a story filled with pure darkness. They noted that few episodes are as tough to sit through as Home, but it's undeniably captivating. Emily van der Werf from the AV Club included it in her top 10 episodes, calling it one of the scariest hours of TV she's ever watched. In 2009, the Vancouver Sun recognized Home as one of the best standalone episodes, remarking that its disturbing theme of incest really doesn't hold back. Nina Sordi from Den of Geek ranked it 4th in 2009, appreciating its dark humor and thought-provoking dialogue as key elements of its popularity. In 2008, Star Pulse gave it an honorable mention among the top 10 X-Files episodes. Connie Ogle from Pop Matters in 2009 even considered the Peacock family to be some of the greatest monsters in the series, marveling at how the show managed to get past the censors. He pointed out that elements like the creepy Gothic house and the unsettling family contributed to its eerie vibe. Tom Kessenich, in his 2002 book, Examination, an unauthorized look at seasons 6 to 9 of The X-Files, placed it as the 5th best episode overall, calling it the peak of the horror episodes in The X-Files. William B. Davis mentioned that while Home was brilliantly written and directed, its gruesomeness made some viewers question if they wanted to keep watching the show. He noted that while modern horror films are much more violent, Home was still pretty disturbing for its time. In 2017, Vulture.com even named Home the scariest episode to catch on Halloween. Hey, before you go, could you please like, comment, subscribe, share, and turn on all notifications? That means hitting the bell. Good day.